for joining me today.
Thank you for having
us.
So today's episode is titled No Type. So I first want to ask, how long have y'all been out here? So Melanie, how long have you been out here?
Since June 2021.
Okay, so almost a year.
Yes.
All right, and how about you?
September 2020, so almost 2 years.
How's it been for you, the 2 years?
Whew, it's been a lot. It's been a big transition, you know, coming from like Houston and Atlanta, but I think I've made like some good adjustments now coming into like my second year.
And then where are you from? Like where were you based before you moved out to Salt Lake?
I was based in Minnesota before Salt Lake, but I'm from Houston.
Okay. So this is perfect because I'm curious about your types in these places. So, Melanie, what's your type, sis? Lay it out.
I don't have no type.
That's what we named it. That like, oh, I got no type.
I feel like it's easier for me because I dip in and out. So like people that are flying, you know, are all races, all socioeconomic statuses, you know, a little bit of everything. And so, I mean, what I would prefer, but is this like a short term or like what are you asking?
So your ultimate type, the man who you would like to spend a very long time with.
Yes.
Or your life with.
Physically?
All of it.
Okay. I would like mentally stable.
Okay. This is important.
100%. Like that's like number one. I like, you know.
Just say tall, dark, and handsome, girl.
All right, that'll lock it in. Yeah, that's really it. Like some melanin. I like some nice hygiene. I like, just clean.
Okay, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I like that type of stuff too. All right, what about you, Steven? What's your type? Coming from Atlanta, because you went to Morehouse, or you graduated from Morehouse. So
yes, indeed.
I mean, the pick of the litter, all types of women, like.
I try to say I don't really have a type, but like everybody knows that's cap. Everybody has a type. They just say they don't. So I feel like my type is definitely like good physique, like athletic build type.
Okay.
And then
like Meg the Stallion or Serena or like
I guess like Meg the Stallion more, and then like it's like it goes by like sports. Okay, so like volleyball and like softball players and like soccer players.
Okay.
Just like short, petite
type.
Yeah. They got booties. Most of them girls.
Yes.
Keep it real, Steven.
Yes. You know. And then definitely a great mindset, mentally and emotionally. Very like funny. I usually like people who have like musical talents because I'm a very musical person as well. So I like to like collab, I guess, like with there's like dancing or singing and stuff like that.
Okay.
Somebody who's friendly, somebody I can be like comfortable with myself with, like
just vibe with.
Yeah, and feel like home.
I like that.
Yeah.
So being out here in Salt Lake, then the options are very different. So has your type changed a little bit? Because if you coming from places like Houston, Atlanta, Houston also, I mean, the options are a little different because it's small lake city. So especially if you prefer to date black people.
Yeah.
So like, has your type changed at all? A little bit?
I wouldn't say my type has changed. I'm definitely like stuck in like what I want, and I'm looking for like what I want. Well, I wouldn't say I'm looking because I'm trying to like let it happen.
Okay.
But I just like, I know what I want type stuff. But I am also like venturing out per se.
What does that mean?
Just like
white women?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because to tell you the truth, I haven't dated a white girl since like middle school.
Interesting.
Yeah, so like ever since then it's been like straight black women. So I guess like being here is not many options, so it's like you kind of have to venture out.
Okay.
But it's like at the same time I still don't really want to, so I still at the same time kind of keep to myself and just wait for the black girl that I find.
That's dope. Okay, I'm with it.
I understand. You know, it's just like if there's no options and then you want that like companionship, what are you gonna do?
Okay, but let's keep it real though. As a black woman, I'm just curious, when you see a black man with a white woman, what is your first reaction? Or are you just like, you know what? it is what it is. We're out here in Salt Lake. Do you feel a way?
Okay, I feel like it's a double standard because when I see a black woman with a white man, I'm like, go ahead, girl. You know what I mean? Like, all right.
Yes,
But I feel like a black man with a white woman, I don't think too much of it because of a majority of the black men in my family married outside their race.
Okay.
So like Japanese, white, and everything in between.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just like, okay.
That's honest. I appreciate that. Now, but let me ask you, when you see because the ratios are what they are. There are a lot more eligible black women out in Utah than there are black men. Mm-hmm. And so because of that, sometimes our options are limited in the same ways, and we may have to venture out into other races as well. What is your reaction when you see a black woman who maybe fits your whole checklist from a physical perspective with a white man?
Honestly, I kind of chuckle a little bit.
Chuckle?
I don't know why it's funny.
Okay.
It's just like, it's kind of like an interesting. It's like, dang, that's interesting. Like, but I feel like love is love, so I don't I don't judge and I don't really care per se.
That's
it's like,
good.
if that's what you fell in love with or who you fell in love with, that's fine, But I mean, it's not really like I don't really care that much.
So I'm curious, where have you had success meeting people out here? Like, are you on the apps?
Yeah, I'm on the apps.
You swipe it.
I be on Hinge. I be on Bumble. I be on Tinder. I think that's about it. I tried the black app, but there's literally no black girls on there. I'm telling you, every other thing under the sun is on the black app except black people. And I was like, why is this app
Maybe because they're looking for black people.
That's what I'm like, bro. They got on this app just to look for black dudes.
Yeah,
I'm like, all right.
a little bit of that. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I'm like, delete that one.
What about you?
I did the app. The Hinge is which one the women message first?
Bumble.
Okay, I didn't do that one. I did Hinge for like 2 weeks. And then when I did it in Salt Lake, I said, this ain't it. So then I tried it in different states. And then I was like, okay, this is better, but it's still like, just wasn't.
But that's long distance starting off.
I mean, I can fly wherever, so I'm not pressed. And then if I wanted to transfer bases to be closer, to be where it is, it's like, okay. Because I don't believe whoever I'm supposed to be with is here. I don't believe.
Really?
Unless they moved here, the same thing, just happened to gallivant over here, and it's like, oh, you're here too, stuck, sorry, let's suffer together. But
honestly, I feel the same.
But somebody born and raised here,
I feel like God placed me in Salt Lake not for love, but for personal growth and stuff like that. So I feel like the main reason why I'm here isn't even for me to find my person. So at the same time, I'm not exactly pressed to find my person because I'm pretty sure I won't find them here. It's probably going to be in that next chapter of life wherever I go to after this, if I do go somewhere after this. So I'm like, we'll see when it comes.
That's interesting that you say that, because I have heard from quite a few black men actually that because they don't see Utah as their forever home, in their dating world out here or their dating experiences, they just completely don't look at the women out here as a long-term option because they know this is not where I'm ending.
And my thing is, it can turn into long-term, but I'm just like, if it happens, it happens. I'm just letting things flow.
Yeah.
If I meet somebody and we have that connection and we happen to fall in love, that's great. But if we don't, I mean, it's kind of just on to the next one.
To that point, though, I've heard people refer to Salt Lake City as Small Lake City. So in some ways, you could meet somebody on these apps, and then somebody like one or two people removed could have also went out on a date with this person, or maybe have dated this person.
That's already happened.
Look, exactly. So it's like, how do you kind of deal with that? Like, does that cause a challenge, or do you foresee that causing a challenge in the way that you date out here?
Kind of, but that's why I just feel like you have to be careful about how you treat other people.
Okay.
So that's why you just gotta be mindful about how you're interacting with your different relationships with people, because that can carry on to another relationship and things like
Facts.
that. And it can either ruin or it could help your potential relationship in the future.
Facts.
So just stuff like that. Just being careful about how you are with yourself and with other people and all of those around you.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's like just always having good vibes. Like,
Facts.
look, it just didn't work out with us, but I wish you the best.
Literally.
I like that.
Literally.
Okay, maturity. Black man.
I'm trying. I just turned 25.
Okay.
I'm like, new year, new Steve. We in there.
Okay, I'm with it. Like, I've heard that too. Like, this is an opportunity when people move out here to kind of switch it up a bit. Like, be the person that maybe in some ways you wanted to be, that maybe you just weren't there yet where you came from. So, what about you?
I think it's different because the relationships that I've created out here aren't like that deep with females. You know what I mean? So if they were like, oh yeah, I used to, whatever, 2 weeks ago, a month ago, it wouldn't be like someone that I knew for months or years. And like, so then that would be off limits, you know? Or
That's
for
true.
me at least.
Yeah.
And so would it make me feel away? Maybe. I'm like, what happened? If they're like, I found out.
Girl, he did.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, noted. And that could be like, okay, let me go find out for myself. Or that's enough information where I'm like, okay, let me bounce.
That's a good thing or a bad thing. Like, I don't know, how much of it do you want to just find out on your own or just kind of listen to the people who have kind of been down that rodeo with that person? Because I also feel like, too, maybe you just weren't the person. Like, and that's okay. I think sometimes being out here, there's this idea that when you meet somebody, you kind of like latch onto them because
You think you all you got.
exactly, because the pickings are what they are, you kind of feel like I need to hold this down when maybe they may not be the right person for you. The attachment may be from something else, not from a place of true connection. So what's a piece of advice that you would give somebody moving out here? And because when I was in the process before I moved out here, I was just like Googling everything, like black people dating, where black people be at, all of that. What is something that you would tell someone that's about to come out here and is interested in the dating world?
Okay, make sure you go out. Because you're literally not going to find people if you don't go out. Yeah. Because these apps, the black people are not on the apps. You have to go outside. That's what I figured out. That's what I've noticed. And you have to make friends because your friends can put you on with their friends. So that's the two main things, is building your circle and then making sure you're going out. So
because you're a flight attendant, are you even out here like that? Like, girl, what are you doing? How are you staying connected with dating out here? Or because of your work, you're just in and out?
Most recently, people that are flying into Salt Lake, I've been interacting with. And so then I know that they're like here.
That's a good connect.
That is a good connect. So like so what do you mean by that? Like people that are flying into Salt Lake?
So that means they're like, they have a home or live here compared to if I'm flying to New York or flying to California. And then if I'm talking to somebody, then, you know, they are based or living out there or something. Or so then it would be harder for me. Still doable, but more difficult because here I start and end all my trips. And so then when I have an off day, it's like, oh, hey, you want to go get something to eat? I'm here. And so, yeah.
To that point, where do you feel like is the best city to like meet singles out here? Like, so for example, I have been out to Park City and I was just like at a bar hanging out. And like someone chatted me up and I'm like, you know, this isn't bad because if they are out here, they probably got a little bit of money. You know what I mean? Like, so where have you been to meet people? Where do you feel like is the best place to meet people out here city-wise?
That's what I'm still trying to figure out.
Really? Where have you had your most luck though?
At like the clubs, unfortunately.
Are you serious?
Yes, because that's really all I be at. But like, I've spotted people at church, but I'm just like,
you was not trying to pick up nobody at the church.
I'm just like, you can't pick up somebody at church. It just seems off limits. Yeah, it just seems off limits. So I'm like, I'll find you somewhere else. Salt Lake is small.
Lady in the streets.
Yeah, I'll see you somewhere at the time.
I'm with it though.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out the best scenes to find people. I've heard the grocery store. Oh, the gym. That's low-key a good spot, but it's really hard to shoot your shot in the gym.
Because you don't want to come off as like
Exactly.
creepy.
It's-
Like, yeah, girl, I saw
yeah.
you doing that what's that, the squat. I like how you squat.
Exactly. It's really hard to shoot your shot in the gym, so it's kind of like,
Yeah.
I'll see you another time, hopefully. So, yeah.
That may not be a bad idea, Steven.
Yeah.
Like, your form is great. You know?
I've asked my friends, like, how should you pick up somebody at the gym? And they're always like, make sure you wait till after a set is done. Like, either she's leaving the gym or, like, she's going to another workout or, like, she's getting some water or something. Like, make sure, like, it's during a break session or something. And, like, just offer, like, a water or, like, a towel or something, or just, like help on an exercise or something, but not like in a weird way, and then like just continue the conversation.
I feel like that could be a good place because this person cares about their body, like
Yeah,
their health.
exactly.
Y'all go to the gym together.
Exactly.
Woo, I like this. I like this. What about you? Like, where have you found the most success?
I feel like me going out around here is because of the group, and so I will go and venture out. So if I will have success, it'd probably be through that. But I'm in the airport, and so then when I'm sitting there 2-3 hours, people will come up and start talking, whether you want it or not, you know. And so I feel like if I want to engage, it's like, okay, you're from here, yeah, sort of. Okay, you know.
That's actually, these are some good tips. Whoever's watching, viewers, go to the gym, go to the club, maybe, and then
a little bit of church.
A little bit of
Keep the
church.
scenes at church.
And the airport too. Maybe get there like a couple hours before your
Yeah.
departure flight. You know, go to one of them little bars.
Yeah, I'm about to say, go to the bar.
You know, see what's popping. I do feel like Salt Lake has. I actually learned this recently that the state of Utah is one of the best run states in the country.
What do you mean by best run?
In terms of economically, like they're just thriving from an economic perspective. And so I feel like to that point, you're meeting people that are doing pretty well in their careers. A lot of us are transplants here. We're here doing our thing, making money, living our lives. And so I'm curious, what has been your assessment of the quality of Black men and women out here? Maybe not to date, but just in general. Like, even if you were interested in dating them, do you feel like, yeah, there's some quality folks out here for me to be interested in?
Sometimes, because when you go to the clubs and stuff, a lot of the Black folk that you run into are more like the college-y age folks, so it's kind of like they're not really on the same, like, they might not be on the same mature level, or they might not seem like they're really on the same stuff that you're on.
Okay.
But like when you see people on the outside, you can kind of see a difference, I guess.
I think that depending on where you go, but typically out here, people are married from
Facts.
17 and having 25 children. And so they may be established and have a great job, but they're not even like an option, or shouldn't be an option, because
Married.
right.
Yeah, a
Or
lot of
they,
people-
because they have 25 children, like it,
Exactly.
maybe you don't, all your money is going to go there.
Right.
Anyway, you ain't got no money for me.
Right.
A lot of people here are already like together. It's just like, dang, I can't choose you. You already got somebody.
Especially at the colleges, if they go to the university, because it's just like, okay. When I did grad school at this Baptist school, it was like ring by spring. So I feel like it's the same mindset.
Really, yeah. I've heard that before too. Like, just because of the culture and like the emphasis of religion out here, they're just taking different life paths a lot sooner than some of us that are transplants out here. In a way that I think in some ways is a bit shocking.
Yeah.
And like, because this was not my experience back at home. Like, I think Black people in general, they take that step like in their 30s. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know a whole lot of Black young couples that got together and married in their 20s.
I feel like older, like my grandma, and then her
Yes,
having
in
children.
their generation, yeah,
Then
yeah.
it was like to get out the house,
Yeah.
get married, or go to the military. But then when we were birthed, it's just like majority of my aunts and uncles are like, don't do it, don't have kids, go live your life. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. But then at the same time, it's like, okay, this place has a timeline. Like, can you be on this rodeo out here without it being fruitful for 5 or 6 years? Do people have that kind of time? You know what I mean? If they want to take certain steps in their life. So let me ask you, what stage do you feel like you're in? Like you said, you just want to feel things out, enjoy yourself. And if something happens, that's great. Do you see it, like, where do you see the next 5 years?
I'm honestly at the point where I could like start settling down. I just haven't found that person to settle down with. Yeah.
That's dope. Okay.
I've always been like the relationship type of dude, or like the one that's like, oh, I'm going to get married early and I'm having my kids like early so I can be like the young dad, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
So like,
be cool.
Yeah, I've always been like kind of ready in a sense.
Just the right person.
Yeah, right person, right time.
Timing is everything.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it can be the right person, wrong time, or wrong person, right time. So it's just like, and when it works out, because I have met some couples out here and it was like right person, right time, and you're like, I'm so happy that this is possible out here. Like, oh my God. So what about you? When do you think, in 5 or 6 years, like where do you, first of all, do you see yourself in Utah? Second of all, if you do or don't, do you feel like this is a viable place to kind of take that next step?
I feel like I like working out here.
Yeah.
So I like my schedule and the manipulation I can have. And then do I see myself settling down? I think initially I did.
When you first came out here?
Yeah, or me being younger, I was just like, okay, same thing. I want to settle down, have some kids, but I think that was just the mindset just growing up in the South. Like, this is what you're supposed to do.
Very milestone driven.
Yeah. And so now I enjoy living, and I like when I'm able to go see family and I'm like, oh, I got this. You know, I'm like, oh, I got this. And then I like doing what I want when I want. So I think that in my head right now, I don't mind a partner that is like established and then doing their thing too, and then we come together, you know, and then have adventures, you know.
God, big
but
kumbaya.
Like a big kumbaya.
Yeah.
But settling down, I don't see myself having kids anytime soon. Maybe I might pull a Janet Jackson and do it like when I'm 50.
Yeah.
But I don't know
Shout out to Janet.
if I want any at all. Maybe some dogs.
Yeah.
And even then, that's a responsibility, you know, when I'm not here and I don't want to like crate them.
That's a good point. Because you mentioned earlier you felt like Salt Lake moving out here was about growth. And I feel very much the same. Like before I moved out here, I was just kind of like trying to figure it out. I didn't know what that next step in my life looked like, just chapter wise. Like I knew it was going to be a career move, but like what about everything else? And so I will say for those watching, if nothing else happens for folks that move out here, you are definitely going to experience growth in ways that are good. You're going to figure out more about what you want, maybe when you want those things, and just kind of like relish in the unknown in some ways, to just be open to what happens in this place. Because I think there are a lot of good things about Salt Lake. So one of them, I think the outdoors is wonderful. But like, what about y'all? What are some things that you really enjoy about living here, irrespective of all of the personal, you know, dating stuff? What do you like?
You took mine, the nature.
The nature, yeah.
That's like my number one thing I love about Utah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things to do here. And so then just being able to have the time to go discover them. And so I like going from flat land when I'm driving to when I'm driving, I'm like, oh, I see mountains.
Going through the
This is
canyons.
nice.
Yeah.
And so, and then there's things during the winter and the summer. And so that's nice.
Have y'all skied out here yet?
Haven't.
I went skiing in Boise.
Okay.
I wanted to out here, but I didn't have the time during the winter. But
okay, so they have like mountain bike. They have so many things. I agree with you. There's just so many things to do. And in my first year, I felt like I had to do as much as I could. But I just feel like I'm never completing everything.
Yeah, it's too much.
It's too much. But I think that that's the beautiful thing, is that you can just learn more of what you like and what you don't like. And just kind of learn yourself in the process. So I want to thank you both for participating in this episode with me today.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
This was fantastic.
Yes. So for all the viewers, thanks for tuning in for another episode of Black and Dating in Salt Lake City. See you next time.